Right now we are working on a product. It's called Virtual Branch. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
This is true. We have already developed the first version of this product. The product does what it says, meaning it moves all kind of activities related to service, to client acquisition for financial institutions to this virtual surrounding, to this virtual branch solution. So the client, the prospectus client, the current client of the financial institution can simply accomplish, let's say, the tasks which he wants to in the relationship with bank without the need to go directly to physical branch, to look for a parking lot, to spend time in traffic, right? To look for right competencies. Because the case is that you don't have all competencies for different segments, even within this one segment in each banking branch, right? So, for example, if I need mortgage product, mortgage credit, it's not the case that in each in each physical banking branch I can be serviced with this product, right? When I'm an entrepreneur, it's also the case that it's not so obvious that wherever I go, I will be serviced properly. So what we want to achieve is to give the end clients of banks the ability to again be serviced, to deal with what they want to deal totally remotely, right? To have the access to the right competencies that I want as fast as possible, or in the right time slot that I really need as a customer. So what we provide in this solution, this is a sum of micro experiences and specific functionalities that allow to service the client properly. As maybe examples of these microservices, we provide a branded video solution. So the client, when entering the video conference, he's not entering MS Teams, I know, Google Meets, whatever else. He sees the bank's branding, right? It's visually attractive. The solution itself is very much interactive with the client. So it is not like video conference where the banking representative is elaborating about products. It's a client can be engaged into this, let's say, storyline about banking products. So this is, let's say, one angle. And the other one is the ability to conclude specific operations when interacting with bank. And to do this, obviously you need customer identity verification, which we provide with this very same solution. So again, you don't have to go to the physical branch to be verified as a client. You can do it directly through this application immediately. The same is with contract signing, so you don't have to go somewhere else to sign the agreement for a mortgage credit. You can do it via this solution. This is some kind of an answer for current market, current clients' demand. So saying market, I mean, financial institutions themselves, they already have it in their strategies. So how to digitize the sales channels, how we interact with clients, right? So this is our, let's say, answer to some extent for this task, which they stated on their own in their strategies. And customers' demand is pretty obvious, right? It's related with the current way of what we expect, how we work, right? Many of us work remotely right now, right? Even us, right? We conclude and conduct projects with clients from numerous countries, right? And we are not present there physically, right? We do it remotely. So yeah, basically this is it to summarize shortly.
Okay. So it's improving customer experience, it seems, right? It's also, I perceive it as a sales enablement tool.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now. You were just presenting on a sales enablement conference. I was watching this presentation, and I know that you are actually practicing what you preach. Our clients that are working with you, they can really, it's just like a interesting experience. It's rewarding, this whole sales process. So basically, like, can you say a bit more about this angle, like how this kind of tool, this kind of approach, how to really make now sales process a bit more friendly towards the client, and how to engage the client in the whole process, right? Because it's probably also improving results, but it's improving also client satisfaction.
So I have two general but simple answers. So first one, I really like what Amazon has as a statement in their leadership code of conduct, and what they say there is that in everything what they do, they start with the client and act backwards, right? So I think the first thing to have in mind to make the sales process engaging is to have this client in your mind in the first place, right? So imagine whether what you are selling is really interesting for the client, right? Is it his end goal? And in many cases, when we talk about B2B business, it is not. So it's some kind of a path to achieve the final goal, right? So, as an example from my very industry, I can name again this credit example, right? So, no one who's I don't know any person who got excited about taking credit, right? So, like, getting up early morning and saying like, oh yeah, I would drink perfect espresso today and take credit, right? So this is not the case. I mean, credit is not something which is exciting for anyone, right? So in this case, what I would advise is to really have this client in mind and think, okay, so what is really exciting for this client, right? So how can I talk with this client, having this credit in mind, which obviously is my goal as a banking representative, but keep the client engaged in discussion about the credit, having his end goal in mind, right? So this is the first thing is, I would say, client perspective, to really have it. And it may be surprising, but it's often the case that in sales, barely any salesman really has the client's perspective in mind. They are close to the customers, but they have their own their own perspective, like everyone has, right? But you have to put some effort and have this customer's perspective in the first place.
Make it a bit more like specific. So because we were discussing that, for example, when you're selling virtual branch, you are actually branding it for client brand, and this is something that makes also the clients excited because they actually see how this product could look like if they actually use it, right?
Yes, this is perfect example. I mean, as a technological company, as we are, we could start with elaborating what kind of tech stack we use, how it's going to be integrated and stuff like that. But it is not exciting for many of our, with people who we talk to. So what we do is, like you said, when we demonstrate it, we try to already brand it in the colors and logos of our customer who we meet, right? So, for example, a specific bank is watching in the demo version already, let's say, its logo, its colors, right? So they feel like, oh, okay, so it could look like this in reality, right? And we spent a lot of time presenting it and talking about this. This makes people exciting because they see what they would like to achieve when thinking about moving sales and service towards digital, right? So they see like, oh, it could look like this. So for me as a banking employee, it might be potentially the end goal, right? And I'm presenting the end goal. So yeah, this is really good example. But to answer your question fully, I would say there's one more important thing. So to the times are rapidly changing, right? So we have the access to really vast amount of information, and what we expect, since we have less and less time for everything, we have more and more trash information all around. So what we expect is to have not boring communication with someone, or to receive not boring offers, or to have not boring relationships, and so on and so forth. So when you try to sell something, it's I think it's good to have in mind to keep it attractive. And many salespeople, they act like they used to 10 years ago. I mean, they started the work, I don't know, 20, 15, 10 years ago. Something was, back then it was cool from their perspective. And they think that it's still cool for many clients, right? But in the meantime, there were plenty situations all around the world changing how we work, how we live, right? How we perceive things, and why to expect that the offer template in, I don't know, MS Word, Times New Roman, size 12, right? The font, why it should still remain attractive after 20 years of doing the same kind of offers, right? For let's say clients in the very same market. It is not attractive. It's annoying, and many clients they at some point they do not see these offers really. So what they do is they have a few providers, and they really do not recall who was offering what. So what they focus on is pricing, right? So give me the lowest price, because they do not receive any kind of attractive communication, I don't know, some kind of interaction, right? So, which could lure their attention and wake them up, because from my perspective, it's often the case that when I observe experienced salespeople interacting with clients, I see some level of automation on the client side. So he's like, yeah, we have to do the handshake, we have to do the quick chit chat in the beginning. He's gonna present me this offer which he was presenting me for last 10 years, right? So it's gonna be pretty much the same. It's the same as from the other providers. So everyone is pretending that that they're interested in it, but they're not in reality in many cases.
And then you're coming and you're showing them the Miro board, and you're telling them, let's actually work together on the concept of this product, right? What we want to achieve. So like coming back to the virtual branch still, what's the process? I think this is really interesting to talk about it. That this is actually one of the first products, especially like in Central Eastern Europe, that is actually being built together with stakeholders that are actually interested, with potential clients. So we have technology company as ours, we have fintechs, we have banks working together on one process to create actually a proof of concept, a product, let's say MVP, that could be then widely distributed, right?
It's well said. I mean, when you said about sales enablement, right? So when we think about sales enablement, tools and methods to co-create with the client, co-creation is one of the buzzwords that is being chased by many nowadays, right? So, but if we in reality co-create the end solution with the client, it's getting more and more of the attention, right? Because again, the client is not having this experience that something is being sold to him. He's creating something that he wants to buy. So it's a small difference, but it changes a lot. And we actually do it. So we started this product discovery project with a few banks in Poland and from Czech Republic, and together with our partners, one which I have already mentioned, Pexip, the other one is MasterCard, well-known company. We tried to discover with the financial institutions what they really expect of something that lies under virtual branch expression, right? Because I think that intuitively many of us will understand what's behind it, right? But when you think about implementing this kind of solution or how you could implement it, it's getting more and more difficult, right? So we had this interest from the banks willing to co-create the concept of the solution for them, and we were working on this all together. So Mastercard, Pexip, the respective banks, and ourselves on this product discovery phase, leading to this final concept. Okay, how it might work for you, right? So yeah.
So what is the main thing about the process? Because I probably, like, I was working with the banks also, like in my previous jobs, and I know that, like, it's super tempting. We're talking about like very complex actually product.
Yeah.
I know it's super tempting to like put everything there. Like, we need this and that, and like you are talking about having this experience of integrated signature, digital signature, integrating integrated video conferences. So like I assume that this discovery process is a lot about putting the priorities to different functionalities, right? What is the most important actually?
Yes, for sure. But before we do that, it's some kind of building a high-level backlog of what is really needed, right? So because it's when we think about customer verification, there are processes before and after this client verification process, right? So whether it should be standalone or it should be connected with something after or before, right? So how it should be done for prospectus clients, how for current clients. Should the process be different when using this client verification part for credit process or for compliance processes, compliance related processes, right? So we're trying to answer all these questions. What we focus there a lot is also, of course, the users, right? So we focus on banks employees. Because we know cases from the let's say from other countries in Europe where everyone was thinking that virtual branch is a no-brainer. Like, okay, let's have a video conference, it's going to work out, and it did not work out. So there was a lot of money spent, effort, and then everyone was disappointed, right? Because people responsible for the project, they were not diving into people's minds and trying to figure out what could be the obstacles in usage of such a solution.
To make this customer experience flawless, right?
Yeah, exactly. But for both banks, employees, and the end customers, because we have two actors, let's say two main actors in here, right? So, and basically this was also what we started with this, right? So we were first discussing with the bank stakeholders, okay, what do you really expect from this, right? Where you would like to target, what customers segment, what processes you think about when thinking about virtual branch, right? And then we were interviewing their employees and their clients, asking, okay, so again, what are the obstacles? What are the threats? Where you see opportunities, right? Remember that when you talk with people who will potentially use it, they also see their own pros and cons, right? So, okay, would I be needed still in this company, right? Or would it be centralized to some extent? Maybe it will cut some of the work, right? Which is on one hand might be a good thing for me, but in long term maybe not that good, right? So we are trying to address all those thoughts, these fears, these opportunities with the product concept. And I would like to underline that the solution assumption is that there is the bank's employee using the solution. So it's not, virtual branch does not mean that it's being done, that the service, the sales is being done by robots or something like that, right?
Chatbots.
Yeah. So it's more about improving the current processes of sales and service, having the bank employees in mind and in the center of this solution, not instead of bank's employees.